What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. Roma's transfer session is starting to take a shape. Gasperini, of course, big press conference coming tomorrow. It's his introductory press conference. I think it will be a long one, so a lot of questions on the players, on the preseason, on the objectives of this season. So a very big day tomorrow. We'll react to his press conference tomorrow together. But yeah, look, the transfer session is starting to take shape. I think we're in the phase where Gasperini's listing names. We're in the phase where Gasperini's kind of indicating the players that he needs the positions that he needs replacements in. And of course, we are starting to see the first names being linked with us. Maximin de Cuyper as a potential Angelino replacement. A bid is ready, according to some sources. And about 30 minutes ago, Fabrizio Romano posted regarding the Lukumi, the Bologna defender situation. What is going on with him? Is he a primary objective as our centre-back defender? And yeah, we've got a lot to speak about. Also, preseason schedule was released today. I think it's an interesting one. We're having a preseason like last season. Half of it at Trigoria and half of it in England at St. George's Park, where we will be playing Villa and Everton in their brand new stadium. A friendly game against Everton was always going to happen, the Fredkin derby. But yeah, look, a lot to speak about. Pop your questions in the live chat. We'll go through them today. Leave a like. 100 likes would be great if we can hit it. It would be amazing. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And buckle up. Season tickets out today. I got mine today. So next season, we'll be there once again and bring it on. Let me just turn the light on. I forgot to turn this light on now that it's summer, but the lighting is cooler. Right, the Cuyper. What I think, first of all, the situation here is Angelino leaving? Because if Angelino doesn't leave, then it's great to get him and add squad depth, but I don't think we will get such a profile if Angelino leaves. I still think Angelino will leave. There have been delays because Al Hilal wanted it to get it done before the Club World Cup, but they now can't because the little transfer session, which was dedicated to the Club World Cup teams, has now, expired. So I still think they're going to get this done, and I still think we're going to sell him for the simple reason being that, as I said previously, if there's an occasion, if there's an opportunity to cash in 25 million on him and potentially also pump that price a bit more now that it's delayed, I think they're going to get it done. Inzaghi is the new Al Hilal coach, so Inzaghi will ask players from the Italian league because he knows them. Teo Hernandez apparently doesn't want to go to Saudi, which means that the only tangible path for them is Angelino. And I think in a situation where now that it's delayed, you could also reflect and maybe pump that price, because people, of course, have said, why are we the only ones out there who can't seem to pump prices for the Saudi teams, which are available at spending a lot of money? And part of that, I agree. But also remember that, he's a great player, but he's not Lamine Yamal. So there is going to be a limit to how much they're going to offer. But I do think that you can use this delay to let them know that if they want to get it done, they can higher the price even more. Potentially bring it up to 30 million. And once you get that 30 million for him, I'm sorry, I love him, but 30 million for Angelino, I'm going to ship him and I'm going to bring him to Saudi by myself. I will get on a camel in Saudi. I will land in Riyadh, have a nice cup of Arab tea, and then I'll bring Angelino to them. Like, genuinely, I will. So, yeah, I think then you need a replacement. Now, of course, the profile which we've been linked with the most is Maximin de Cuyper from Bruges, which he's an interesting guy. He's an interesting player. He's young. He's 24 years old. He's from Belgium, and he said that he wants to leave Bruges because he wants a new step and he needs a new experience. I remember him from the game that my country played against Belgium, where Pellegrini got that red card. I remember him, and he had a very good game in that game. Yeah, I think it was the Nations League back in, I can't remember when it was. I think it was October. And Italy was like leading 2-0, and then Pellegrini got a red card, a stupid red card, and Belgium equalised the game. I remember he played a great game. He is, you know who he reminds me of? Not just because of nationality, but he is the classic player that Gasperini would ask, because I think there are a lot of similarities between him and Timothy Castagne. If you have been following the Italian league since a very long while, you will remember Timothy Castagne. And he is a player which under Gasperini had one of the best seasons, and in that season was actually one of the best fullbacks in the league. He hit his prime when Atalanta reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League. It was during COVID, and then they lost to PSG. It was probably one of the best seasons of Atalanta in their history. And Timothy Castagne was a very, very, very interesting player. The characteristics that he demands from a fullback, in my opinion, are, as I said before, physical horse. Somebody who runs, somebody who manages to place an equilibrium between offending and defending, and somebody who can equally distribute concentration on both these two sections. I'm not saying Angelino can't do that, and I'm not saying Angelino doesn't fit Gasperini's system. The only issue with Angelino, in my opinion, which Gasperini would want somebody else for, is the physical aspect. Not in a kind of injury level, because Angelino is probably the least injured player in our team. Him and Ndika are the ones which never get injured. And if there's one thing that Angelino guarantees you is consistency. But, in terms of stature, Angelino is not very tall. And of course, not being very tall limits his aerial duels when defending and potentially, physical attacks when he attacks. That's why I think if such an offer comes, Gasperini will be the first one to say, let him go. We'll get a better replacement. One thing that I said in the little talk that we had on Thursday is the nationality of players, in my opinion, is interesting. Because I think we will see this summer, and especially under Gasperini, we will see more players from the Northern Hemisphere, if you want to put it that way. I think we're going to see more players coming from Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Belgium, those countries. Because there's something which kind of groups players from those nations together, and that is durability. Northern players are durable, and Northern players can give full potential and full energy even when the team hits those periods where it's lacking energy. I think we will see more of those players, because I think durability and non-lack of energy are two very important components of Gasperini's game. So I think we will see. Now, I'm not just saying this because we've been linked with a Belgian player, but if you look at the players that he asked at Atalanta, of course, it's not just players from those countries, but a lot of players come from Northern Europe, and there's a reason behind that. They are more durable. That's. I think that is statistically proven, that a player that comes from Sweden and therefore grew up playing football throughout an entire year and therefore playing under negative degrees is statistically more proven to be more durable than a player which comes from Greece. And that is a fact. So, seeing the fact that one of the biggest components of his game is this, durability, consistency, hard training sessions, physical beasts, my prediction is that we will be linked with more players from the Northern European countries. But that's just my take, of course. Lukumi, because Fabrizio posted a tweet not long ago, and he basically confirmed that one of our best targets, one of our highest targets this summer, is another defender, and that we have been linked with and have already had contacts with Lukumi with Bologna. Now, let me find the tweet. There we go. AS Roma maintain active contacts for John Lukumi as target for centre-back position. There are also Premier League clubs keen on the Colombian centre-back, waiting for Bologna's position/pricing. Now, I read somewhere that Bologna have a 28 million release clause. And they don't want to abandon that release clause when it comes to selling him. My only thing here is his contract expires next season. So he will be a free agent in 12 months, which means that you can lower that release clause if you put pressure on it. And yeah, I mean, 28 million is not infinite amounts of money, but I would rather spend more money on a Lukman type player and another midfielder. We need another defender. I'm not doubting that. Gasperini plays 3 at the back. And right now, realistically, we only have 2 because Homo's left. Realistically speaking, Hermoso will leave. Kumbulla, I'm not sure if he's going to come back from the loan. So as of now, we only have Ndika and Mancini. So another defender will come, needs to come. No doubt about that. But if I need to spend 30 million on a defender, which means that I need to spend less money on a Lukman type player, then I'd rather do the opposite. Because I think we need to have threat up front. Especially, this is not an attack, but this is just common knowledge. Especially if we keep Dovbyk another season, which his agent has confirmed. If we keep Dovbyk another season, great. He needs another season. But we need to add threats because there have been multiple games this season where we relied on Dovbyk up front and Dovbyk was a ghost. So you need somebody who takes the ball beneath his feet and scores even when our main striker or Dybala isn't fit or Dybala doesn't play. You know those 1-0 games? There have been so many 1-0 games this season that have been decided by Dovbyk. That's good, but now ask yourself that question. What if Dovbyk wasn't there? What if Dovbyk's injured? You need to add threat up front. And you need not to add threat by getting another striker. You need somebody different. You need somebody who can play as a striker, but who's more of a left winger. And as I said in the talk, I think Igor Pasha would be great. Very good player. Incredible stats. Player which would absolutely belt it under Gasperini. But yeah, look, thoughts on Lukumi. I like him. I like him because he's proven himself to be a very good defender. I actually had him in my fantasy team this year. And I ain't gonna lie, he brought a lot of penalties because he's a very foul guy. He's a very aggressive guy, gets a lot of yellow cards. But I like him because I think he would pair very well with Ndika. Hopefully Ndika doesn't leave, but he would pair very well with Ndika. And I think the biggest thing, now it's probably not one of Gasperini's biggest priorities because Gasperini has said it many times that his philosophy is score a goal more than your opponents. So that means that you can concede 3 goals if you want, as long as you score 4. I don't necessarily agree with that, and you know me very well. I am more of a great defense guy, but score less goals than score more goals but concede a lot, because I think mathematically there are more chances of you to win a game if you don't concede than if you concede 3 goals. So I am more of we need a strong defense, which is why I don't mind Lukumi as a defender. Gasperini wants him. Gasperini has tracked him with Atalanta as well, so you know that he wants him because he's a player they asked even at Atalanta. But yeah, I mean, look, Gasperini is not about parking the bus. We won't see 1-0 games with Gasperini. We'll see more open games, which bring them on, but you know, you have to, that connects to what I said before. That is why you need to add threat up front. Especially this season, where we will concede more goals, and therefore you need to score more goals. If you concede more goals than last season, but don't add threat up front, you will lose more points. Because there have been so many times this season where you only won games because you didn't concede a goal and scored a scrappy goal. So if if you're going to play a more open system and concede more goals, it is exponentially linked with adding threat up front and getting players like Paixão, those players up front, potentially even another striker, so that you can rebalance things out. But yeah, look, I also feel like it's good to get a defender who knows the league well, because it takes time for defenders to adapt in the Italian league. It really does. It does. It does. It really does. Look at Hermoso. All of us this summer were like, Hermoso's a great signing. Hermoso adds experience. Hermoso has played at high levels before. He's played in a great team before, like Atletico Madrid. Had we never said that, Hermoso came to Rome and shat on our plate about 20 times. Yeah, maybe he didn't care. I personally think when De Rossi got sacked, Hermoso completely detached, which is a valid point. He said many times that he was here because of De Rossi. But it takes time. The Italian league is physical. It's different from other leagues. So getting somebody who already knows how to play in it and has performed well in it would be a bonus. Pre-season schedule is interesting because we have players are back or expected back at Trigoria the 13th of July. 23rd of July, we've got our first friendly game in Germany against... I tried pronouncing this name about 30 times today, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm sorry if there is any German fan watching this. I really cannot spell this and pronounce this. Kaiserslautern. So the 23rd of July, we will be flying to Germany to play Kaiserslautern. Yes, don't ask me where that's from. Don't ask me where they play, because I would have no idea. Kaiserslautern. Yeah. It sounds like a very Nazi name. No disrespect, sorry. Sorry if I offended that, but yeah. Moving on, we've got... I'm trying to memorize them. Oh, we've got Villa and... Oh, yeah. No, after this, we're flying to England, to St. George's Park, to carry on our second half of the preseason. And when we're there, we will be playing Villa and Everton in their brand new stadium. And before we play Villa, we have a second friendly game in France against Lens. Lens in France. Racing Club de Lens. Who are in the first division, are they? Are they in the Ligue 1? Or are they in the... Yeah, they are. They got 8th this season. So we will be playing against Lens in France. So that's our friendly game schedule. It's better than previous seasons because we're playing Villa, and Villa's a top quality team. And remember, Villa is in our Europa League next season, and if anyone would bet on a probable Europa League final the 16th of June, you would probably bet on a Roma-Aston Villa Europa League final. So it's also important, not that a friendly game will determine anything, that's not what I'm saying, but you can have a first impact at playing against a team that you know you will have to beat if you want to lift the Europa League next season, because I can guarantee you they'll go far in that European tournament. So the friendly game which I'm looking forward the most is the game against Villa. I'm looking forward to Everton because of the new ground. It will be fun. It will be nice to be one of the first teams to play in it. And the other two friendly games are important to start indicating Gasperini's system to the players. You know, that's where they're important. Especially when you change managers. In my opinion, it's more important to have 3 training sessions a day and less friendly games than 1 training session a day and a lot of friendly games. Like, in Gasperini's first season, I was highly against going to the US, for example, and playing against Real Madrid, Barcelona, Milan, and all of those friendly games, because it is extremely important for the players to understand the manager, and the only way you understand the manager is by training sessions, not by friendly games. So I would much rather we have multiple training sessions a day in the heat of Rome, and I can guarantee you it is dead right now. You can't put feet outside of your house that you're gonna melt, and it's not even summer yet. In July, if these players train 2 weeks in Rome, in July, mid-July, 3 training sessions a day under Gasperini, they will be physically ready to tackle the season. So that's what I want the most. Forget about the useless friendly games. They're important, yes, but they're not as important as training sessions, bombarding them with training sessions. That's the most important thing once you change manager. Moving forward in future summers, then no. But especially because he asks for a drastic change. He's a drastic change. We have not played any similar football to his in a very long while. Probably the last time was under Spalletti that we played such energy required football. So it is very important that these players understand the manager as soon as possible, because otherwise we will lose points this season because the players won't do what the manager wants, and we'll have the first chaoses, and you'll know that tantrum again. Thoughts on the Club World Cup? I haven't followed much of it, to be honest with you. I watched like 10 minutes of yesterday's game against PSG. I think, I think the difference in level between European teams and other teams it's just too high. It's too high. I saw people go, hopefully we will have a Boca Junior as the underdogs. Hopefully it will be great to have an African team as an underdog. It's nice to test how an African team does against Real Madrid. And it is nice to have this cultural exchange, but the reality is that they're really not that good. The reality is that any European team would outclass any non-European team. So I think, and the other thing, I think it's too, I don't know how you describe it, but it's too Americanized, if that's a word. You know what I mean? It's too like, I reckon they did it. One of the reasons they did it in the US, it's because they're preparing a propaganda for the World Cup next summer. It's too like, I don't know how you describe this, but it's like, I want to try and watch 30 minutes of it. I would never watch a full game of the Club World Cup. I wouldn't even watch a full game of the final. But it's like, let me just test this. I'm going to watch 20 minutes of it. But you just can't seem to concentrate because it doesn't feel like a serious story. It feels like the players don't even care about it. That's my feeling. It feels like it's something that is done, but no team really wants to be in it. They just do it because it offers so much money. And it's too Americanized. And the American world of sports is great, but it's not great for football because football is not American. I was watching a TikTok of the first game, the Inter Miami game, and you had players which came out of the tunnel, kind of one by one with LED lights. That's something you see in the NBA. Like, it takes about 20 minutes there were 11 players on the pitch on both teams. That's 22 players that you need to present one by one. It takes about half an hour just to present the players with LED lights and stuff. Of course, that's just because it's the first game. But yeah, the fact that they used I Show Speed to promote a big majority of the Club World Cup shows to you that it's not really that serious. It really isn't. And as I said before, I really don't feel like the players care about it. They're treating this as a preseason friendly tournament. They're not treating this as a major trophy. Not that it is a major trophy, but it is a major trophy, but they're not treating it like it. You have Instagram reels of the teams participating in the Club World Cup, showing the players going to Universal Studios for a day before the game. That's something that if this tournament was serious, you would never see. Because if I am PSG and I film a video of Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembélé and Borcola going to Universal Studios in Hollywood, getting on a roller coaster and riding it around, and you post that 24 hours before a game, then it just shows you that they're not taking it seriously, right? See what I mean? Like, you would not see that type of content on an official account of a football team 24 hours before a game that they actually care about, or a tournament that they actually want to play in. So I feel like, yeah, I just feel like the cultural exchange idea is great. I like it. But the difference is too big between European and non-European teams. It's too big. The team selection is not fair. And the criteria behind the team selection, I don't understand. I don't understand why RB Salzburg are in the Club World Cup, or Benfica or Porto are in the Club World Cup. Would I like to play it? I would, but I'm happy we're not. That's the way I see it. I would play it because it's a fun experience and it brings a lot of money. But at the same time, I don't, because I'm happy that the players are getting rests, because these players clearly don't want to play that. And that's kind of the way I see it. But no, I won't be following many games. I will probably watch the final because it will probably be trending. But, no, I don't really care about it. I miss the days of Mourinho with you. I couldn't keep watching Roma after he's gone, says Fritis. How much should we get for Hermoso? Not much. Sell him even... We bought him as a free, so any money would be good. What do you think of Shomurodov? I would keep Shomurodov as a third striker, but I also feel like if you don't sell him now, you won't sell him. This is the moment to sell Shomurodov because he's coming from a great 5 months. So if you don't sell him now and get a bit of money for him, like 5 million even, you will never sell him and will never make that money. So that's the way I see it. With watching Argentina versus Colombia, and Lukumi is a great defender. After we come back from the UK, can't we bring Garnacho with us? Says it's Dave. The game yesterday, PSG versus Atletico, was boring, no intensity, plus the heat was killing them. Yeah, that's the other thing. Daye Gucci Bellavale. I think they're trying to balance the Europe versus the rest of the world quality to truly expand football everywhere. I feel bad for our boys in July and under gasp. Someone need an ambulance. Mate, trust me, and I will say this because I know that Gasperini's training sessions are brutal. I know this because so many players in podcasts or mainstream TV have said, players that have been managed by him, including Mancini, in an interview a few weeks ago, said that his training sessions are brutal. I can't even imagine what it's like to train and adopt his training methods the 20th of July in Rome. Like, I am not joking. Yesterday, it was absolutely mental, the heat. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. But yeah, that's probably it from me today. I will catch you tomorrow. We will have another talk this week, so we'll organize that. Gasperini's press conference is tomorrow, so it'll be a good stream tomorrow. We'll react to his words. It will be a very interesting one. Hit the like. 100 likes would be great, guys, if we can hit it. It takes 2 seconds. It's free. Literally, click that thumbs up down below. It would be great. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Gasperini press conference tomorrow, and bring it on. Our season is starting to take shape. Love you all, and I will catch you soon. See you out.